And we're live.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome. Hannah's here. She's ready. We're going to be talking about The Shadowed Sun by A.K. Jemisin. There we go. I only have the ebook, which is book 2 in the Dreamblood Duology. Both of us finished it today. I finished it like 30 minutes ago. So it was a wild ride. But Kira, what did you think? Like, tell me.
I really liked the first one, but I think this was good in a different way from the first one. And it definitely had like more, I think, like romance and stuff in it, which is kind of like what I've been craving. So I think it hit me like at just like the right time. So I probably would say like give it a 4 or 4.5 or so.
I couldn't agree more. I think both were good in their own way, but this one examined really quite different like themes. Each had very clear like themes they examined, and I enjoyed this one more. Probably because of the romance, because I'm just give me a good romance and automatically want to start more. But for me, it's like a 5-star. I just did like maybe I'm a little high off the book, but I just did the co-pilot. I was like 10 for everything. I have no notes. Like it was so good. I think maybe the beginning was slightly slow, but after like I don't even know if I really mean that, but it took me a little bit like to get into it. But once I was in, I was like in. So I really, really, really loved it. I'm glad it delivered.
I mean, it took me like a while to get into it too, but in all fairness, like I feel like I'm like that with most books. Like I really have to commit myself to at least like the first half, like really commit in order for me like to get like really get into it. And then once I'm over the hump of it, like then it starts to like, okay, well, this is like more, speeding up and everything.
100%. And to be fair, yeah, I'm the same. I always like maybe not half, but like the first 20, I'm always like, ugh, like we're still reading this. But after that is like really good. Oh, hello there.
Hello.
So hello, Hannon. Just finished the book. Nice. Rory, Hannon, tell us what you thought about the book. Did you also love it? So what were your favorite bit? I mean, we both mentioned romance, but was that your favorite bit, or what was like the thing that got you the most?
I feel like my overall favorite portion of this was the character development of Henry. What's her name? How do you? I'm trying to figure out how to pronounce her name.
I want to say Hannon, but that's because Hannon's here.
Yeah,
something like that. It was around. I don't have my ebook with me.
Yeah, hold on. Let me. I think it was like Henai, maybe Henai. I don't know if I'm gonna say like that, but yeah. So I liked how I liked her overall character progression. I think like her character arc like throughout the entire story, because like it was basically like not just her like finding her family, but like finding kind of herself like throughout the entire thing. And kind of just experiencing more. And I really liked that because it kind of just made her, because like first like she was just like like this fairly devout person, but it showed like that she could be both devout and like and be in her womanness and her femininity and embrace that about herself, even though like that was something like that was frowned upon in the Hatwa. So I really like that. That's like probably like my favorite.
100% agree. I think her story was amazing. I overall feel like maybe the characters, I found their journey just a little bit more compelling in this one than the first one. Although I loved Nigiri, I loved him. So Nandi was never connected that strongly with me. Whereas like you said, Hanan's, or however we say her name, her story was so compelling and like such a complete arc. And it was really amazing to see and very relatable, I think, because she just like struggled with such relatable things, which was like, who am I? Like, what's my place in the world? Like, why do I keep losing people? And yeah, that was so compelling. So I think overall, like the characters just maybe because they were their journey maybe was slightly more conventional, although I don't know if that's fair. But yeah, I just resonated so much with her. And overall, I think for me, what really compelled me was like all the themes of like womanhood that were so strong in this book, because maybe because the main character is so strong. But just like, yeah, examining of like these different cultures, and they're all like have different views on like women and gender roles, but at the end of the day, even the ones that like revere women are still kind of limited in what they can achieve. So like they can't be sharers because they're goddesses, even though we kind of figure out through the book that it's kind of like bullshit. The guy
Yeah.
just did that because, you know, then he could control them better. But yeah, so I just, like you said, it was about her embracing her femininity and realizing she doesn't have to like give all that up, and just how many different shades of women there were and how complex the cultures were around like gender and that perspective. And like with the I think the sisters were such a big, like not the big part, but like a very interesting part of book one, the ones that were like the concubine, or I don't really know what to call them, but that was interesting because like that was the only way for women to like be the part of hetwa. So yeah, I just found like that conversation so interesting because like the last book was more like about religion and religious jealousy, whereas this one I found more like about women and plight of women, and it was just so cool to see like the different bits.
Yeah, I like how, I don't know, I kind of like a culture set like in how women are revered, you know, and this definitely had that. And it doesn't like, and that doesn't mean like that everybody revered, obviously, because like of some of the things that happened in there, but they overall like protect women, you know, and I like that about that culture. I like the setting of that culture and how like it's displayed.
100%. Yeah, it was very interesting to see because yeah, like the Gujarat, like they protect women in one way because they're like revere them, and then in my head I call them Barnaby, but I don't think that's actually how you say it. But the tribes, like how they, like in the tribes, those gender roles there were super interesting, and it was very much capitalism, but it was definitely like so interesting to see how that played out. And yeah, I just like N.K. Jemisin's brain. I was telling Hannah, I feel like I need to reread this because it was so sophisticated and so much like saying so much, not super obviously, that my brain was like, I don't know, I don't even know what I don't know.
Yeah, I really like, because this is like only the second book that I've read by her, but honestly, like it makes me like want to read more of her stuff because it was so like fluent, I guess, in like the plot, and it felt like there wasn't like a lot of like loose ends, like a lot of extraneous like things that you didn't need in there. It was just so like clean cut in how like it was presented, and it was just very well like crafted, you know. So, and this is like one of her earlier ones too, so I'm kind of like, what is the other stuff like?
Oh my, you're so right. I was adding this to Goodreads, and I was like, 2012. My girl was writing this in 2012. Like it's just so sophisticated, and
Yeah.
I think also it's just like on the cultures portrayed, on their values, on the characters, and just like everything was so morally like, oh, okay, so you have some good things about you, some bad things, and it's all like not black and white. Like even Wana, I was like, oh, I want to forgive. Like I haven't fully forgiven him for like some of the stuff he did in the beginning of the book because they were questionable, but like I also find it interesting how people here think like, okay, if it was done in the service of greater good, then it's kind of like all good. But then towards the end, I did really grow up to like him, and yeah, I think it's just like very sophisticated. I've read the 9th season, really enjoyed it. Sorry, 5th season, not 9th.
Did you read all 3 of them?
No, just book 1. So I feel like we should read all 3 because I need to read book 1. I have basically no
Well,
memory
then
of
she also has her other one, like which is just like in one book, but I think like there's 3 books in one. It's called The Inheritance Cycle, which is another one that she has too, and I've heard good things about that.
Is that not just compilation of all the 5th season books? Is that a separate thing?
I think what was it?
Because I think it's called. Oh no, that's called Broken Earth. So maybe I'm tripping. I guess that is something else. Because yeah, I have them all. I really like. I feel like I should read it because 5th season was so good. But then now I'm thinking she's even better at doing sequels. So I'm like, oh my god, what? And I also have her other one, the one about cities. I don't know.
Oh yeah, I think she's still working on those though. I don't think
Yes,
that's a completed.
I did. I thought it was standalone when I originally read it. let me just quickly catch up on this. I was surprised by how easy this was to read. 500 pages in 2 days is not typical. 100% agree. Slade, yes. Jemisin Slade.
So the 5th season's called The Broken Earth.
Mm.
But I thought she had.
You're right. I just always thought because the what's it called? The covers were so similar. I thought for some reason that it was like the same, but I could very much be wrong. No, you're right. It's like Broken Kingdoms, Kingdom of Gods. I don't know why I was tripping. No, you're right. So, oh my gosh, she read so many books.
Yeah. So I mean, like the one that I have, like though, I think it has all 3 of those in there.
Yeah.
Because it's
Yes,
just
I
it's
think
just
there's like a compendium, and then you can get like individual books.
Yeah, and I really wish I could have found like the originals because the original covers are much prettier than the compilation is. So
Yes. Well, you can get the Broken Kingdoms one in World of Books for £5. That's not that bad. Or you can get all 3 of them for £22 on.
yeah, and it looks like it's got like the short story in it too, because like the one like that has like one, it goes from 1 to 3.5. But oh wow, so like there's actually a Shades in the Shadow. What is this? This is like book 4
Yeah.
in that series. I didn't know that there was a book 4.
No, neither did I. Is it like a short story or something?
I don't know. It says book 4.
Hmm. Okay, let me just read this. I loved her journey, especially her struggle of wanting to be the perfect share because she was the first one to be accepted into the ranks. So real, such a huge pressure. I agree. There was like the moment when she realized she would be like the blueprint, or like she would set the precedent, and I was like, damn, that's a lot of pressure.
Mm-hmm.
And it was definitely like, yeah, it was very interesting. The countries between Gujarat and Banbara, when it comes to like women's sexuality and modesty, was so interesting. Jemisin sat down and said, "Let's have a conversation about patriarchy," and she did that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know. Like I said, I just like really like how they handled like the themes of like rape and all that stuff, because they really projected like the society like that's safe for women, you know? And like while like there are offenders, like they don't tolerate that.
Yeah. Yeah. It was really interesting. I think that was really interesting to see. And like, yeah, I almost feel like we got like three cultures' views on gender, and that was a very interesting conversation, because on one hand I was like, wow, this is really cool, because like you said, the women are revered and they're respected and protected, but then there was still such a clear distinction between men and women and like the gender binary, that it was still like, to an extent, there were some things you couldn't do and some like barriers that you couldn't cross. And then in Kiswati, they were like, no, women should be in like all professions and stuff. Like I don't really remember their exact stance, to be fair, because that wasn't so much explained. But obviously, like they let women be sharers because of that. And I was like, well, that's better in some ways because you have more freedom and equality, but
Yeah.
really they don't have that respect because of what the soldiers were doing and things like that. And that was just interesting. And it was also really interesting to see like the Gujarats and Nahuatas stance on peace, and like peace above all, and peace like first and foremost. And I think it took it to such an extreme of like, okay, like, is it peace or is it worth the peace if it's like your people are being subjugated and treated
Yeah.
poorly and all that? And like, I feel like eventually even they were like, now this has to stop. So I quite like pushing this ideology, which sounds really great in theory. Like, yeah, we all want peace, but like how does it that not become complacency and stuff? So they're like, with last book they really pushed it, but they pushed it quite far now as
Yeah.
well. Sorry, someone's calling you. I'm just gonna tell her I'll be back. Um,
I don't know. And at first, I didn't like Hannery's mentor. I didn't like him at first. I thought he was like cold and unfeeling, you know. But like as you get like more into it, you're like, man, he actually does really care about her, and it was like, man, that tore me up. That's what I'm gonna say about that because like
100%. I was like so upset. But I think they set that up so well, and I think the themes of like fathers, like when they were having the final confrontation with the sleeping demon or nightmare demon or whatever they call it, the dreamer, and how it was like a face of all fathers, and everyone saw their own father, and like how they all had different relationships with their fathers, but it's like how impactful those were. I thought that was interesting because obviously, like Mina or some, however you say the mentor's name, he was like a father figure to her. And like you said, like at first I was like, oh, he seems like a bit of an ass, like just really like removed. But then you realize it's like he cares so much about her, but in their culture you can't really have that kind of love for other people because it's not peaceful.
yeah.
And that was super interesting.
And I love how he was the only one because like she did not put the prince in his place. She did not do it, but he did. And he's just like,
That
I know what you did.
was so good.
Yes.
That's what I was reading yesterday at like 2 a.m. I was like he ate, like that was amazing. Like, yeah, you're right. Like it was amazing because it's like you mentioned, it's about Hannah's journey or the girl's journey. And like she went from like super meek and never really standing up for herself, and like she knew what Juana did and was like, oh, it's okay. Like, I didn't really forgive you, but I see it, whatever. She didn't even get angry, to like someone who could really advocate for herself. And it was awesome to see her mentor, who like does come off super stoic and super like unfeeling, just like have so much emotions because she was nearly hurt, or she was hurt. And that was like just so powerful. And yeah, the mentor, I feel like a lot of the characters, when I first met them, I was like, I don't know about you. And then you get to know them and you really understand what they're about, and it just like you like them so much. And I think it's also about interesting to be in so many people's head, because then you get like different perspectives. Because I found Yasuna, was it like the tribe woman who was like a friend to the main character, and when Wana was talking about her, he made her out to be this like super extreme conniving villain, and then not everything she did like just kindness. And I think obviously he had his own biases because like I don't know, he was scored. I don't really know what happened there. But it was really interesting like how she really was and how he perceived her, and like how sometimes we don't see people clearly. And like her and Hanja's relationship was just like the best thing ever. Like I loved them, and just like so many amazing characters. Like same for the mother. At first I was like his mother, I was like, oh, I'm not sure, but then she just really grew on me, and like everyone just has so much strength and gone through a lot of shit. But yeah.
Yeah. I was definitely surprised because like I attempted to read this like one time before and I really was struggling, so I put it down. And now I finally like got through it, like I'm kind of like, well, yeah, it's good that I read this.
Yeah, I agree. Like this is one of those books that I just so many questions, and it's so interesting, and you're like, well, I will be thinking about this for a while, and I'm like, I want to buy the physical copies, even though it's so hard to find them reasonably priced. But I just the type of book I want to tab and think about it a bit more. Helen said the Gajarian concept of peace was so fascinating, and like you said, it has its limits for people in the book. It was really, really interesting. Yasana, that's it. Love her too. And honestly, like the story of was it Tianet and the Sanfi, the father, and the girl, the daughter, that was like so harrowing. And like I got weird vibes from like moment one when she was like, oh yeah, my dad told me to wear this super sheer and revealing dress. I was like, why your dad telling you to do that? That's weird. But I think that story was so amazing. And Hannah sent me a voice note before this, and she was like, I really enjoy how her story was like left open-ended, and I think that was really beautiful. And like that her daughter got peace and she got to like explore and be her own person for the first time. And yeah, that was such an interesting dynamic there with her mother, and like the cycles of abuse and like all that. It was just really heartbreaking.
Yeah, definitely. I don't know. I thought it was kind of interesting, like to see like how much corruption came from them letting the nobles rule, you know, because you know, like the the prince like was a product of his father who was insane. You know, who actually grew to become like very insane. Even though he was overall like a good leader, he was power hungry. So then we got his son who, like, you know, I wasn't sure about his son because, like, by proxy, I didn't like him at the beginning of the book because he was the son of a man who inflicted being a reaper on himself for the sake of power. And when you think of a guy like that is like so completely evil, seeing the things that he did. And you're like, how far does this apple fall from that tree? But I ended up liking him because he was actually trying to be better than his father. He realized that his father was not perfect. And I think that was like really important to like his character development too. And then realizing like that he was more like the people he hated than he was like his father.
Yeah. Yeah, I think reading this book just makes the first book even more interesting because there was like they were talking and she said, "Oh, your dad was like a madman." And he was like, "He wasn't mad." And she's like, "So what, was he pure evil? Do you prefer believing that?" And he's like, "No, I don't think that either." But then like you said, he finally realized like what his father became. And it's again about that how people can be different things to different people because to them he's like this madman and he started this conflict and he inflicted so much pain, but to him he was a father who loved him dearly and always like took care of his mom and was like a kind person, and like both of those things can be true, and like you said, he was trying to be better, and I feel like he grew so much throughout the book because in the beginning the way he used the sharer apprentice and he like set this whole thing up when she nearly got assaulted and like how he didn't really have remorse for that and how he was just so driven towards his goals and how much he hated the sharers and the gatherers and all that. Like he really grew to be such a more understanding, patient, thoughtful person, and I think that's something the world needs. And I think it's interesting that they said, okay, we're going to share a little bit more of the power so it's slightly more distributed. It's not just like one person being complete and absolute say so in everything, but then it's also not just the corrupt officials and stuff like that. And again, something that Hannah mentioned to me was that it's so interesting and something I really enjoyed and she really enjoyed that in the end of at the end of the book, like he compromised for her and she kind of got to be the unconventional in the unconventional relationship, didn't have to like bend to his will, which I feel as in the beginning he was like, well, this is the kind of wife I need and this is the kind of children I need and this is the kind of life I need because I'm all these things and blah blah blah. But in the end, like he came to understand her, that like you want her as a person, and that was like really interesting that he compromised, and that was really really nice to see.
I liked it too because I don't know. So you do see like that progression, like that, you know, like at the beginning, he's just like, well, people are here for me. But then he realized like that, you know, he was better off helping her in like a lot of ways too, which kind of made him a lot more selfless.
For sure. And I think what was to me quite powerful was when his unte, the leader of the tribe, his basically father figure, once he realized what happened, he was like, if you don't succeed, I don't want you near my people because you don't have empathy for them and you will not be a good leader for that reason. And I think that really shook him and it kind of shook me. I was like, yeah, you're totally right. But I like that there were people around him that challenged him and they were like, actually, I don't want you looking after my people because you don't care, because all you care about is like your agenda. And that definitely changed toward the later half, which was really interesting. Right, let me catch up on these. And being able to see the old king from the perspective of someone who loved him adds even more to the character. Agreed. Seeing Wanahoman heal himself and thinking about the wild dreamer, Tanufi, made me really sad because she was never given a chance. Maybe she could have kept herself in balance. But society, because they don't test women and the trauma inflicted on her, left her completely vulnerable. That was such an interesting conversation because it's like their unwillingness to admit that women also have the gift and test them really because they needed basically to more people with the gift be born, so they needed the women to like go and have children versus they don't allow the men to have children, or if they part of the hetwa, was like so damaging to the women because it's like such a dangerous thing, and they acknowledge that it's dangerous, but almost like, but doesn't matter though because we need you to like breed. And I think it was so fascinating to like think, okay, so their like founder and leader, who the person who built the whole religion and the whole concepts and who was so revered, actually also did so many messed up things. And majority of the things he did, even it mentioned that it was like with ulterior motives. So I think it's so interesting to think like, okay, the builder of your religion, of your like whole belief system and it's the way of living and all that was corrupt in a way. So like, how do you reconcile your religion with that? I think that was definitely like a theme in the previous book because like Nigeria was the main character, so that was his journey. But yeah, it's just very interesting. Like, how do you do that?
Yeah, definitely agree.
Oh, this is a very interesting. So one thing I'm still thinking about is the stories kind of explores the idea of being too traumatized to live, but I wish we got to explore it a little more. I definitely was thinking like, oh man, like why is there solution for anytime someone's hurting, like dying? But like I kind of understand it. It's like so much trauma has been inflicted like to their little girl and other people as well. Like that there is peace in dying. So I kind of understand it, but I kind of wish there was but you can still live with your trauma and find happiness. And I think that's what the main characters, the girl's share story was. Like she was ready to die because she felt herself corrupt and all the terrible things that happened to her, and she just wanted to like go be in a karef with her like surrogate father and people she cared about. But like she had someone who fought for her to like to stay and live through it, and it's like the friends and time like filled that void a little bit, and she lived through it. So it does kind of give two perspectives to it, but it was definitely really sad to be like this little girl's life was so miserable, and then the only peace can be death, which was really sad.
I thought it was kind of like an interesting concept too. Like they kind of discussed like the afterlife a little bit in this about how, because like they were talking like about how like, well, they found like all these souls wandering, like after like they fixed everything, and they were able to give them peace. And she asked about her mentor, and that's like when they got into the discussion like that you could like search several lifetimes and still never find that soul, which because it's such a vast landscape. And I thought that was kind of an interesting like approach to the afterlife, like how like the souls are kind of just wandering like in limbo almost, and not given peace.
100%. Yeah, I was like, why don't you agree on a meeting spot like you do in the dreams and just go there? But no, you're 100% right. It's such an interesting way to view the afterlife. And it was also talking about like if a tormented soul went in a karef to the afterlife, they would just be drawn to the darkest parts of the goddess. So they just would have nightmares and be in pain for their whole existence, which obviously miserable. So it's better to dissolve them from reality itself, which is just so sad. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah. So it's kind of like life is pain and then death is pain. So it's better to like just not exist, which is very sad. Sorry, just pulling these up. In case of Tanufti, I understand a little more because their first priority was stopping the plague from continuing to spread, and this is the only way they know how to do that. True. And the story of Vianas's great aunt, I think they feel they gave her peace, but I think with time and care, and like you said, someone fighting for her, maybe she could have lived and recovered her peace in the waking world. But they destroyed the soul. Like, whoa, that's so permanent. Yeah, that was really sad and really dark. Yeah. There's definitely a lot of very grim thoughts in the book and like view on the world. But that's, I think, makes it quite interesting that I came out of the book feeling like nice and hopeful, but like not everything's great and sunshine and rainbows. And I almost feel like they could set another book like another 10, 20, 30, 100 years in the future, and it would just be as interesting because these cultures would evolve in new ways.
Yeah. You know, I would be like really interested like to see more women, like how they handled like that in the future.
Mm,
And I would also be like, I think like a great character arc, like if she were to ever do like a third book, would be for somebody like two dreamers, like two intense dreamers to have a child. You know what I'm saying? And it actually be successful, and then be like this powerful like entity like for it. You know, I think that would be like a really like interesting thing to explore, because Hannah said that she couldn't have kids with the prince because of them both being powerful dreamers. But I think it'd be interesting to explore like that like a little bit more, like to, you know, like for something like that was actually successful, like they created like, instead of nightmares, dreams, like really good dreams.
For sure. And it was quite interesting because she said that. I was like, girl, but you said that the prince is so powerful that he can kind of go either way, be either completely fine or go crazy. And also with training, you shouldn't go crazy, is what I got from that. So I was like, I feel like you could make it work. But
Yeah.
for sure, yeah. I feel like if she ever felt like I want to do another one, there's so many other things to explore and so many interesting like ways you could take this. And you could like take the third book and be about a different set of like problems and themes, and it'd be, you know, like really, really interesting. Yeah, I was kind of like, oh, I want to know what happens next. Like I want to know where the story's going.
Yeah.
What are we both rating this book? It is a 5-star for me.
It's like, I think to me like it's a 4.5 to 5, like, you know, 4.5 to 4 stars, something like we're around there. I think the only thing like that, I mean, like always, like at the beginning, like it's always like a drag, you know, like trying to get into stuff until like you're actually in it. I think like that for me like was probably like why like it wouldn't be a full 5 stars, because sometimes every once in a while I'll get a book that hooks me from right off the bat. Every once in a while I will, and you know, like then I'm in it for the long haul. But sometimes I really have to work at getting into it. So
yeah, I know what you mean, and I also feel like I kind of did the book the service because I knew I had to read it like in 2 days. So I was like, okay, let's get through it. Let's get through it. And I didn't like give it the time. Like I didn't feel comfortable with the beginning being slightly slower because I just needed to get through it. But that's completely fair. Yeah, I think for me, like the ending and the last 50% like just was so good. It overall in the beginning I was like, oh, I don't know, this is a little like, you know, a little slow. I'm like enjoying it but not going crazy for it, and then like I went, just felt like crazy. But yeah, I was like, my 10 out of 10 compile rating feels really like I love it in this moment, so maybe I'll revise it, but I feel like it'll still be 5 stars.
it was really good. It definitely was really, really good.
Yeah, I think best series we read, maybe, like quality wise.
Probably, yeah.
I don't know. I had so much fun with Laini Taylor, but maybe because I've reread it so many times.
Yeah. I don't know. Like, I think that's good. I feel like I'm getting to like I still love YA, but like feel like I'm getting to a point like where I'm not as satisfied with it as I used to be. So it's not that I don't respect it or think that it's really important or, you know, like still enjoy it from time to time. I just don't get the same satisfaction from that I do from adult books, like, or books that are geared, you know, for adults at this point. And I know Laini Taylor's books were for YA, and I think I was already approaching that point. So for me, I didn't have the nostalgia because I hadn't read it before. So for me, like, I thought it was good. I thought it was really fun and such a creative story, but it wouldn't have been a top read for me personally because I didn't get the same kind of satisfaction like that I do from like a really well-developed storyline, because I've noticed like that a lot of the YA books are not as developed in their storylines and like their characters and everything else as, say, an adult book is. And for me, like that's been the biggest distinction like between the two.
Yeah, I think you're 100% right. I think something I enjoy about the YA books is like usually the world will be so colorful and fun and like vivid.
Yeah.
Like I just read A Song of Six Realms by Judy Eilen. She also wrote A Magic Steeped in Poison, which I really loved. And these are just so colorful and beautiful and like things like that. And there's like you said, it's like if I was 15, 16 myself, like to be fair, I still really loved the book and I still had a great time.
Yeah.
If I was 15, 16, I'd be like, this is the best thing ever written, you know. But now I feel like books like this that like make me question my own morality and make me question like the world and make me think about so many big grandiose ideas are just like it just up there, like can't be topped.
Yeah.
Need a novella about the sisterhood. I agree. I think we did gatherers, we did sharers, we should do sisters.
I just think we need a third book in the series, period. Like, it was really good. So
like 12 years of skills development. I feel like she would just blow our mind.
Where can we petition this?
Yes. You know? N.K. Jemisin, please. I'm begging. Also, make this book more easily accessible because it's hard to buy copies.
Yeah, the only reason I have my copies is because like I turned in a bunch of books like to a used bookstore like a while back, and they had a ton of N.K. Jemisin books, and I pretty much rated them, and I picked up like all the N.K. Jemisin books I could find that I didn't have.
Smart.
So
very smart. I have the 5th season series, but that's not so hard, and they're all secondhand. No offense to N.K. Jemisin, but I don't find her covers particularly appealing. But now that I know how much I love the content, I don't really care. But before
I kind of like these though. I think they're
I don't like Shadow Sun, but maybe
to me like this looks like an eclipse. So you know,
maybe if I had the physical copy, you know, when you just look at like a tiny little picture on the screen, you're like, eh. And I don't know, they're like very dark. Although I really like the one for the city one, the city.
And, you know, those books of hers have gotten a lot of mixed reviews from what I hear, but like I don't care because at this point, like I'm sold on her. So
true, I'm ready. And now that you told me Inheritance is a different, which I don't know, I don't know what I was thinking. But now that you told me, I'm like, I want to read that. I want to read The City That We Became. Because there's The City We Became, The World We Make. So that's that series.
Yeah.
There's like a third one coming out, I think.
Yeah.
She wrote some like, I think it's like a comic series too.
Oh.
Okay. I felt like a complete ending, yeah, but I could definitely take more. 5 stars, amazing. Period. Few IA are developed. I agree. It's true. Yeah, make them pretty, man.
Yes.
Okay, Hannah was like, I'm gonna start advertising this as enemies to lovers, found family, desert fantasy. Maybe all the girls will then come. And
I mean, I mean, like they didn't really like each other from the beginning, so yeah, I could definitely see that.
Technically, it was, and it was so like well done.
Yeah, don't forget political fantasy, like though, because that'll draw everybody else in, like that didn't like really get hooked on the romance part.
Everyone should mandatory reading in schools.
Yes.
But also broke. I would probably get.
Yeah. This. Oh, but like so like they came out like with the Ken Liu series, like that's been, you know, like like they redid that one and it's been available for like a little bit, and I'm like looking at the price and I'm like, oh.
I feel you. Because I read Way of Kings, loved it. Like it was so good. Like you should totally read it if you enjoy like it's just like so many themes and it's very political. And yeah, the covers are so pretty, but like
the price makes me want to cry. And honestly, like I'm kind of like reserving some of my funds like when they do like the Empire of Silence.
Yes, I've never been rooting for anyone as much as I am for you with that series. Like you deserve it.
They better be beautiful, because if I'm spending like that much money, they better be like the most beautiful thing I've ever laid my eyes on. Like it's like I want to marry them beautiful. Okay, so yeah.
Let's hope that they usually do such a good job. Yes. But Hanan, we will be robbing you. There's many reasons to rob you. This is one of them. Now I won't be buying books for 3 months.
I mean, I'm still super tempted, but like the price is making me want to cry. So I'm kind of like, ugh, like I really like want a full set. I mean, I actually do have like the first 2 in hardcover already. So I would like, I could definitely like go like still get like the second 2 like in hardcover because they're still available and not have to pay that price. But at the same time, like they're really beautiful. And I'm like, dang it.
Yeah. But I think the normal, yeah. Do you mean the normal covers are beautiful,
Yeah.
or the,
Well,
yeah?
no,
I
like
think
the
every
midnight editions, like from
Oh,
Barnes
the
and Noble.
midnight editions,
Yeah.
they are, and I do feel, to be fair, like they're quite similar to the non-midnight version of that cover. So I'm
Yeah.
like if you have those, then you're probably okay. It's just like slightly different coloring. I
Yeah.
have none of them, and only the first book was in the library. I'm like, I should buy them, but then I'm like, no, you should. But yes, I should.
So I have a feeling like with the Sun Eater series, because he just came out like with Disquiet Gods back in April. I have a feeling that he is going that they're probably going to wait till he announces the last book
Mhm.
because then there's one more book in this series yet to come out, and then that's going to be it as far as I know
Mm.
for it, unless he decides like to do like spinoff. But I feel like at this point because I've already gotten into book 4. There's so many hundreds of years have gone by. We're probably going to be taking it till the very end of his life, as far
Mm.
as like I can tell, like for like the entire span, because like the first book started like with him being born and like it's just kind of progressed. But his um he's like genetically like perfect because like they're able to do that in this
Mm.
futuristic type world. So like there's no cancer, um or any of that stuff like that would typically kill somebody. Not to mention like that they are, like they live a lot longer. So I'm just waiting like to see like how they end this, but I'm gonna be really sad when there's nothing
Oh,
else to read for this.
yeah. I mean, I need to read it. I don't think anyone's ever sold me that hard.
It's definitely a time investment.
Yes, I think I will try to do it. Hannah, maybe this is our next, we have like 5 read buddy reads going on and we're failing at most of them. But once we finish Way of Kings, we can do Sand Eater because it sounds like it's really amazing.
I like it because it is so detailed and well thought out, and I kind of feel like sometimes when I'm reading it, it's like reading and watching a video science fiction epic fantasy like
Mm.
game. Like it really feels like it's like this guy's done tabletop, but he's like done it really well.
Mm. Nice. She's on board. So something with aliens. I
Yeah.
honestly, like, I've been getting a little bit more into sci-fi, and I want that epic sci-fi vibe, and I've not really read anything that much like that.
Hmm.
So I'm ready. I'm
Yeah.
ready.
Sun Eater has definitely been like so far like my favorite as far as like science fiction goes, just because like it's so well developed, and I love the main character. Like I'm so in love with him if he was a person. But like yeah, he's very like he's wholesome, but he's also like he knows what he needs to do, and it's not always like the easiest decision, but he does it.
Mm, sounds so good.
Yeah.
I'm gonna pick it up, I promise. I need to read all of the Realm of Elderlings, Way of Kings. Those are my big fantasies
Yeah.
to read, and then I can do it.
I might actually venture into those like after the 5th book comes out, because
Mm.
from what I heard, that's going to be like the ending of like the first portion of the character arcs and everything else, like for like that segment. But he's got another 5 books to write for this. So,
Mm.
but at least I can get in like the first 5, and then like
Yeah.
kind of like done like with that particular character arc and like that particular like like segment of the storytelling. And then I won't be tortured waiting for the rest of them to come out. Maybe,
Maybe being dumb.
maybe. That's a huge maybe.
But like, I'm just so happy because I feel like I went through like a phase where I was like, oh, I just want to read standalones. I can't do all these. And now I'm like, give me 10 books. I will take 10 years to read them, but I want to read them all. And like, I want that big sprawling story that will take like
Hmm.
God knows how long. I feel like the only like scary bit about that is sometimes they just decline with quality and you're like, no, but
Yeah.
at least with Realm of the Elderling, so many people read them. I'm like, and they all love it. So I'm like, okay, it can't be that. Like, it's
Hmm.
not falling apart completely, even if maybe there's some things I don't like. Wait, what? Apparently, we won't get book 6 for Stormlight for another 10 years?
Well, I guess I'm not reading that.
Dang! What? Wait, but it's sort of like, okay, it's Brandon Sanderson, right? Doesn't he write like 3 books a year? Like, come on now.
Yeah, he does. I know Django Wexler. I'm thinking like that's the book like that I was kind of like looking at.
It's
Was that
really
How to Become a Dark Lord or Die Trying? Was that the one? How to Become a Dark Lord or Die Trying? Because I've been looking at that one. There was also like Django Wexler had also done like a trilogy, high fantasy trilogy like that I've been like looking at as well. And I know like that's a completed trilogy. So I don't know. But
I smell a buddy read. Is that the Forbidden Library series, or is that something else? Or there's also 1,000 Names, Shadow Campaigns, and he has so many. Burning Blade and Silver Eye.
Burning
What
Blade
else?
and Silver Eye was the one I was looking at because I already have the first book. And I was
Oh
like,
yeah, but that How to Become a Dark Lord is his as well. Yeah, I
yeah,
had
it
no
is.
clue. Oh. That's this year, so I think that one's coming now.
Yeah, it is. Like How to Become a Dark Lord and Die Trying is not coming out until May 21st. So it's soon, but it's not quite yet. And I've been kind of like looking at that one because like that kind of sounds like fun, like How to Become a Dark Lord and Die Trying.
Yeah.
I don't know. And apparently like it's like the first like in a series. So it says Groundhog Day meets Deadpool.
That wasn't so good.
Yeah.
I feel like I've heard someone be like, "Oh, that wasn't so good," but I'm like, I don't care. The promise is that, and I love quirky, weird shit. Like I was
Yeah.
just in the US and I bought How to Sell a Haunted House by Grady Hendrix because I was like, I need to reread that. I need me some weird ass killing puppets with very hard hitting themes. Like
That
love it.
bunny book is weird. Have you read Bunny?
No, is it weird and
It's
the
weird. Like
quirky way, or like?
there's some quirky parts, but like there's some like really dark parts too. And I spent the entire book like asking myself like, what the fuck am I reading?
Fair.
And
Okay,
it's like
it's on my list.
I still don't know how I feel about it. Like it's just it was so weird, and like I still am trying to like contemplate exactly what I read. Like I kind of have theories, but like nothing concrete enough to be like, yeah, that's exactly what happened. Yeah.
Love it. I'm definitely gonna read that. That's some. I think my library has it too, so that's really good. No,
Yeah.
I love me some weird shit. Like, oh, Grady Hendrix, man. He used to. I need a book. What's the book for this year? I read him like every
Yeah.
year.
I still have to read his How to Sell a Haunted House because I'm behind on that. I usually try to read like one of his books like as they come out, but I got it and I just didn't get a chance to read it.
I think it
So
might be my favorite from him. Although I liked many of his books.
I don't know, like it was really dark, but I love the Southern Book Club's Guide to Slaying Vampires. Like that one was super dark and like really fucked up, but it was
Yeah,
good.
I think that one might be is between the two.
Mm-hmm.
But it's just how to sell a haunted, like you don't understand. There's like a puppet that walks around with a knife. And I was scared. I was like, why am I scared? I'm terrified. It was just so well done. But uh, Southern Book Club's like is really amazing as well. And I love the themes there and like about motherhood. But How to Sell a Haunted House is more like stages of grief. And I just felt like it was done so like both were done extremely well. Like I
Yeah.
read other ones like My Best Friend's Exorcism, which I thought was pretty good, but didn't like blow my socks off. Or I read so many now I forget. Oh, I really want to read the one that's like about like a band, like a fictional band. And it's like a black cover, I think, with a purple guitar pick. I don't know what it's called, but
Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. So I think it's one of his older ones.
Older, yeah.
Yeah.
Grady Hendrix is a witch book out this year? I think I just found my new personality.
Yeah.
Amazing. Also, Rory, I have added Hard Reboot to my to read books because it's a novella actually, which sounds very good. I'm sorry if you actually said that, but I did not comprehend it.
Oh, he did say Hard Reboot. I got confused. My brain has not been right like the last.
To be fair, when I read it, I was like, a reboot of what? And then I had, and because it didn't come up in his books, I like Googled it. Just separately, and it's like a novella. So it sounds really good. I need some more novellas in my life.
Yeah.
But should we announce our next book? I feel like that'd be nothing
I
to
definitely
do.
think we could do that.
Awesome. Do you have your copy? Do we want to whip them out, or should I just whip out mine?
Give me just a second.
Ooh, I love your blanket. Looks very
thank you. Okay.
This is what we're reading. Black Sun, Rebecca Roanhorse.
Mm-hmm.
What's the series name? Between Earth and Sky.
Yes.
That's the series. So book 3 is coming out in June, I believe.
Yep. We got book 2.
Actually, I didn't like that, but in person it looks kind of good.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I like the black. I like the black background, like to the gold. Yeah, I haven't read the. I'll be honest, I have not read the synopsis of this like since I first decided to like get these. I'm not going to, because I'm going to go in it completely surprised. Because like if I know I want to read a book, I read the synopsis once and then I walk away and I don't think about it. I'm just like, I know that I want to read that at some point. That's how I kind of like do my thing. But I don't like to read like the synopsis and it be fresh, because sometimes they ruin stuff.
Oh yeah, I legit read this book. Which book was it? Oh, it was this terrible, terrible, terrible thriller. But like they said something in the synopsis that happened 80% in. 80. Oh, I know what it was. It was the. Oh my god, I'm thinking of Ending Things.
Oh yeah.
And they mentioned in the synopsis something that literally didn't happen till 80%, and I was like, "Are you insane?" But anyway, I don't know what this book is about. I've also read it. I also bought it as soon as it came out because I love the cover. But I'm ready to find out together. S.A. Chakraborty said it's absolutely tremendous on my copy, so I will forever trust that. Also, Irv Kwang said Black Sun is instantly riveting. Roanhorse is at the top of her game. So,
well, Ken Liu said this is a brilliant world that shows the full panoply of human grace and depravity.
So they literally said your top 3 authors will blurb this book. So if I don't like it, I feel like there's something off. And oh my god, that sounds so good. I'm very excited about this. We'll be having the live show, I think, on the 19th. So that's like reading sprints. Sorry, yeah, that's the reading sprints on the 19th, and then we're going to be talking about it on the 2nd of June. Is that right?
Probably, yeah.
I think that's what I initially wrote out.
Which will give me time like to read some more of my Sun Eater series, because it's been a while since I've gotten back into that.
Yeah, I think this one will be an easier read. It's only 436 pages, and it's pretty big font. And is this a YA? I feel like it is. But I might be spewing nonsense because I often do. No, sorry. 2nd of June. Yes, 2nd of June. So if you want, put those dates in your calendar. We shall find out if it's another home run. I am very excited.
The reviews have been good, but I'm kind of glad like that we're going to start it like before like the reviews on the final book even come out, because I want to be surprised on how I responded to it. Because like with the Foundry Side trilogy, like I kind of knew going in like that the 3rd book was like because like a lot of people said it was so I don't like want to hear any reviews like on the final book until like we actually read it.
Completely fair. I feel the same. I think I'm gonna get if I like this one, I'll get book 2, and then I'm ready. Book 3 has a really cool cover, like quite different than this one, but really cool. Yeah, honestly, like I know people really enjoyed it back when it came out, but it's been so long, I don't remember any specifics about what it was 2020 that it came out.
It was just a few years.
Or 2021, yeah, around that time. So the offer is actually quite quick to finish already. Well, I actually started during reading sprints. I will
Yeah.
not promise such things, but I will try my best.
Well, I guess it depends, like where I'm at, like with the Sun Eater, because
I
I
mean,
really want to get back into that one because I've been like dying to continue on with it. Like I was going to, but then like the last couple weeks have been so rough, like that I just kind of did, and then I ended up having to read this book because we're going into the time where it has to be read, and I'm just like, well, I got some time now, so
I
hopefully.
mean, listen, you read The Shadowed Sun, which is a very dense book, very quickly. So I'm like, with this one, I think I could definitely do it in like 2 days.
Yeah.
I now feel kind of unstoppable, I will say.
I mean, in all fairness, like though the writing like on this is like
It's quite big, right?
no, not on
Oh, really?
not on the Sun. Well, no, this is the Sun
Oh, the
Eater.
Sun
Sorry.
Eater. Oh my God,
Yeah.
that one. No, that one's dense. So that one's different. I'm like, this
Yes.
one will read quick. That is it Bible pages? Is that
No.
mean?
Well,
Okay.
this copy isn't because I've been collecting them in hardback, but
Mm, okay, that's good.
I dropped my books.
All
It's okay.
right. Were there any last like things about the book or the new
I know.
book? Anything to share?
We went out like way in left field. Like we just started talking about a bunch of randomness.
Yeah, I felt like anything I
Yeah.
could think of, we kind of touched on. But yeah, if there's
Yeah.
anything else anyone wants to say, or um, but yeah, I'm impressed. We actually talked for an hour. I was like, when it's just 2 people, I'm always like, oh, I want it to be that long. But then the book was so good. I'm like, yeah, if MK didn't feel well, so she couldn't join, and Esme wasn't able to finish the book because she's been very busy. I think she's moving, right? I don't know if she's moving right now. She's definitely moving at some point. So, but yeah, I feel like no one's saying anything, so we're probably good to wrap up. I'm
Yes.
quite hungry. Might go make some food. Yes, we all hope oops, sorry. Hope Femke feels better soon.
Yes.
And thank you for lovely chat. Always a pleasure, Rory.
Yeah. Thanks for coming to hang out.
Yes, it was so fun.
Mm-hmm.
All right, we shall do the awkward. Thank you for the chat too.
Mm-hmm.
We'll send all the information on Twitter as per usual about the dates. But yeah, it'll be the 19th and the 2nd, probably around 2-3 p.m. UK time, which is usually what we do. Whose channel we'll see who volunteers. But yeah, thank you so much, everyone.
Yes. Thank
Click
you.
the button.
Bye bye.